Welcome to Season 2 of the Shekina Meditation Podcast, created by community members and friends of Shekina Garden in Pai, Thailand. Shekina communities are dedicated to creating free devotional spaces of Christian practice for spiritual seekers and travelers around the world. We post Christ-centered guided meditation each week to help you in your personal or small group practice. You can find episode show notes and other information at shekinacommunity.com.
Hi everyone, this is Ro. I'm sitting here with Ray this afternoon, and we find ourselves today at Season 2, Episode 69 of the podcast. Can you believe it?
Wow.
We are very warm. We're sitting in a little studio with the fan off so that you don't get any other sound. So dear ones, as always, our patrons are supporting this podcast over at Patreon. We're always raising money to help keep our little community running, and patronage is a part of the way that we do that. So over at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast, you can click on over there and support us if you'd like to for $1 or more per month. We sometimes send out little extras to patrons, and basically we just adore them. We really appreciate you, dear patrons. Thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
Another way that you can support us is also by rating or reviewing us on iTunes. That just helps get us up there into people's feeds. Or sharing it in some other way. Like every app has a way to share, just click on that little share button and share us to stories, Instagram, Facebook, send a little email to your dog groomer, your friends, your families, whatever works for you. We really appreciate every tiny little share in the world. It actually means so much to us. It helps to encourage us that you appreciate what we're doing in putting this little podcast of meditation out into the world. So thank you so much, friends.
Thank you. So today's episode is Lectio Divina on 1 John 4, verses 7 to 12 with Ro. And I believe this was recorded at Shambhala Music Festival here in northern Thailand. So it's a festival that we've gone to a few times, and we get to guide meditation there, which is really beautiful. Our Christ-centered meditation. And we're always happy to do so, but it means that there's some liveliness in the background. Maybe some voices, maybe some music. You never know. Ro will offer some exercises to help you find that quiet space where you are ready for meditation, and then she will guide you through the verses. And there's going to be plenty of space in between for your own thoughts, contemplation, your own way of entering into the meditation. And third, we recommend that you spend some time processing your meditation in some way. So either with others in a circle, listening to each one, maybe without comment or critique, just listening well, or on your own in a journal. You could write a few words, you could write some points of just moments that you had during the meditation, words that stood out to you, or you could draw a little picture, or you can make a voice recording, just some way of bringing it more into like the front part of your memory so that you are bringing it into the rest of your day. Let's begin.
You're welcome. Let's begin by finding a comfortable position. There's no rule that we need to stay perfectly still the whole time, but to begin with, let's find something comfortable and still where we can sit up nice and tall with our spine straight. We might need to have a wriggle or a stretch. And then begin to settle ourselves into stillness. And let our focus come to our breath. If we like, we can close our eyes down if that feels comfortable. And we're just noticing the breath. Not needing to change our breath, just breathing comfortably and naturally. Noticing the movement of the body. Notice the rhythm of inhale and exhale. Perhaps also noticing the heartbeat. Bringing attention back again and again just to the breath. There's nothing to prove or get right in this style of meditation. You can't do it wrong. We're just noticing our breath. You might like to gently begin to expand your attention to other sensations in the body. The feeling of our clothes against our skin, where our body meets the mat, where our body touches another part of our body. Moving just gently from sensation to sensation as we notice them. Acknowledging them and gently moving on to the next sensation. If our attention moves off the sensations, just come back gently to the breath.
And gently let's begin to expand our awareness outward from ourselves to the world of sound that is around us. In the same gentle way, let's move our attention from sound to sound, noticing it gently, perhaps imagining what it is that is making that sound. And then moving on to another sound. Feeling our place in this big, beautiful space, full of life, human sounds and natural sounds. See if you can notice the farthest sound, the sound that's the farthest away from us. What might that sound be? Noticing it. And then coming in close, what is the nearest sound that we can notice? Noticing the close by sounds. And gently moving from the outside world, the world of sound, inward. We're going to turn our attention to our thoughts. All the different sorts of thoughts that we might have in our mind. Remembering our morning, thinking about what's to come today. All different sorts of things. Without too much judgment, just being gentle and kind with ourselves. Let's notice what's happening in our mind. What are our thoughts? You might like to imagine that you're a bird in a tree, looking down at a stream, and the stream is the stream of your thoughts. You can see the thoughts and notice them, but you're separate from them. You can just notice them kindly, see what they are, and then let them pass you by, gently going downstream. You can notice the nature of the thoughts, the size, what they're about, without judging, just kindly noticing, and then letting them drift down the stream. It's very normal and perfectly fine if a thought comes back into the stream again. Something that's concerning you, or a worry, or just something that's on your mind today. We can make the choice to just again allow it to flow downstream, out of sight. We might like to imagine that we can fly a little higher up into the tree so that the stream is a little further away, perhaps not bothering us quite so much. And perhaps we might like to imagine flying all the way up to the top of the canopy, the very top of the tree, so that we can't see the stream at all. Our thoughts are still there, but we've put them to the side. We've stepped away from them, and all that is above us is just a clear sky. It's normal for the thoughts to come back during the meditation and distract us. A big part of the practice of meditation is this practice of letting the thoughts come, noticing them, letting them go again, coming back to focus. We're moving now to the second movement of our meditation. We might like to open our palms in our laps or on our knees as a symbol of openness towards the divine. It's a simple gesture that says, "Here I am, I'm listening." We make this simple rangoli of marigolds in the middle of our circle as a symbol of welcoming the divine presence to this space, knowing that the divine is already here welcoming us. I have a few words from the sacred scriptures that I'm going to read through 3 times. For this first reading, I invite you to look for a word or a phrase that stands out to you today. Something that captures your interest or your curiosity or your imagination. Something that seems interesting to you today. Perhaps asking the divine to speak to you through these words this morning. This morning I'll be reading from a letter by a man called John. John writes, "Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. This is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. For this second reading, I'll read each sentence twice through with a couple of minutes silence in between. And I invite us during this reading to again look for any phrases or words that might stand out for us. Employing our imagination, our memory, our senses. Perhaps having a playful interaction with these words. What could they mean for us today? What could this word that stands out mean for us today? What could the divine be saying to us? Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. This is love. Not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. This is love. Not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and His love is made complete in us. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and His love is made complete in us. For this final reading, I invite us to offer back any response to the divine that we have from these words. we feel any word has stood out or any phrase, if we've been on a journey of the imagination or whatever our experience has been, to offer back any response to the divine. The divine already knows our hearts, loves us, welcomes any connection, any honest, genuine response, offering that back to the divine. It might be in the form of a simple prayer or just a wordless sense of connection. Whatever feels right for you. Feel free to move your body if that feels good for you to do. As I read through this passage one final time. Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. This is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. We're going to gently begin to bring our attention back from the space that we've been in to the company of others, gently back to our bodies, to this circle. I might like to take a few deeper breaths in and out. Maybe gently wriggle your fingers and toes or stretch your body. Take your time gently coming back. And in a few moments, when we all have our eyes open again, that can be our sign that we're ready to begin the final movement of our meditation, our sharing circle.
Thank you for joining today. There will be a new guided meditation available each week, so don't forget to subscribe to iTunes or sign up for our newsletter to get podcasts delivered to your inbox at www.shekinacommunity.com/podcast newsletter. Also, you can rate or review on iTunes or sign up as a patron at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. Have a beautiful week. Many blessings to you.